This one slipped a little bit under the radar. Star Wars: Tales of the Underworld.
I like it.
It did not slip under my radar. I was
Naturally,
I am very happy. I am so happy. So
but
happy.
I'm so glad that they did this. I'm so glad that they did this because the previous versions, what we've been getting, have been absolute fun.
Mm-hmm.
Telling these in between stories, and we're gonna check that out right now.
Just do as I say. Never can be too cautious with strangers out here. Then again, you're no stranger, Lady Ventress.
We got a problem here. Just saw him right in.
What's the situation?
He was your best friend.
Things have changed. You took everything from me.
Who are you?
I was Count Dooku's lead assassin. I don't want that life anymore.
Bane? No one needs to die.
Kill everybody.
Get them.
You're gonna pay for what you did. This revenge, I hope it was worth it. It will be.
And they doing it on Free Comic Book Day. May the 4th be with you, you glorious bastards.
Let me say this: winning lottery numbers, winning lottery numbers, winning lottery numbers. Because didn't we all just say, literally an episode ago, what Star Wars can do? And as if someone on the Star Wars side said, "Bet."
We've been had this at home. What you talking about?
I'm just saying.
Y'all
this
ain't
point.
looking hard enough.
We have been sitting there. We have been sitting there saying what Star Wars could do the entire time. What other stories you can tell, other characters that people may or may not know about, unless you're Kira. I know Kira knows a lot more. Kira knows a lot more Star Wars than I do.
Y'all are gonna be in for a goddamn ride with this. There's
Oh, their last volume of like Tales, Chef's Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I want that. We've said it. We want these in between stories from characters we either don't know, haven't seen in a while, don't know what happened to. We want that. We want that.
You killed off on a property when nobody asked you to.
Like, why would you do that on that show? Cad Bane does justice for Cad Bane.
I get it, the whole Western standoff, but you could have had a better end result. Like
he get somebody else.
One leg.
He said, "Get somebody else to do it."
Somebody else to die. It ain't had to be him.
But see, this is this is exactly what we're talking about. There are other stories. We don't care who it's from. We can go outside the Skywalker clan. We love them. Don't get me wrong, but there are other stories. Yeah. Please tell them. Tell them.
Because we're better for it. You round out your universe. You round out the universe by telling stories and characters that people don't know.
As vast as that universe is, there's so many places we can go, so many things, so many stories to be told. Like,
I want them to do something with Legends. I want them to figure it out. I don't need all of them, but I need them to expand what they have out that's non-canon and bring that in, and that would make it's going to make things a little bit crazy, but it would bulk up their universe
Yeah.
and make it more comfortable for people to move around. Like you don't have to stay in the Star Walker saga like y'all have been talking about. You don't have to stay with Ezra. You should be able to go wherever the fuck you want. Go down a path, pick a path.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been really giving us thank God Filoni. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God Filoni. Because
Daddy Loney.
Filoni right now saying, are y'all complaining now? You can literally hear Filoni
as long as he touched it, we didn't have a complaint in the world. From Clone Wars to Bad Batch to the Underworld to Tales, feed us.
Please.
We have been
he should be just sitting
wanting this.
He should be sitting on the throne right now, looking at George R.R. Martin and going, "And that's how it's done."
Baby.
Listen,
he's busy.
Completion.
He is busy knocking on House of the Dragon's door, asking for someone to let him in because he was not invited to the party. But apparently, that was on purpose.
If you just finished the
Yeah, I mean, they already got time travel. You could easily. You're always saying a galaxy far, far away. What if the next galaxy is the same one, just alternate timeline? You could take
even that.
You could take Foot Fighter Grievous and make him canon, or at least put him in modern day. Yeah, that man was fighting off 2 Jedi Knights with his toes.
Oh no, I know, I remember.
Look at the Lego series that they did, where everything was just completely flipped around, and I'm like, this is entertaining. It's all get out, and I want more.
And I'm happy for it. I'm happy for it as somebody who was so confused when they brought Ben Ventress back for because the first Clone Wars movie was just out of nowhere. They're like, all right, Star Wars is over. It's done. And there were grown men on my radio crying because they're like, oh, this is going to be it. This is how we get Darth Vader. And then this cartoon comes out of nowhere. And we're like, okay, this is happening for some reason.
The cartoon that started out as shorts and everything. Yeah.
So the shorts is what was canon for episode 3. So Grievous didn't have whatever weird car crash smoke inhalation he had. It was straight up his issue was Mace was like, I'm not fucking doing that. Collapse all his lungs and then just send him on his merry way. So when he's coughing in episode 3, that's because they just did a patch job before they went up there. So Mace is like, I knocked him down to like half health. You two niggas, y'all got it. Good luck.
Even the short with dealing with Mace Windu, I'm like, and that's why he's a badass.
That's why some people still think he's alive. Like people wanted it to be John's story, and Mace was the one waiting on him somewhere drinking blue milk with one hand. But even with like that stuff, yeah, like so when the cartoon movie came back, it's like, hey, Anakin has a Padawan. Since when? And then you end the movie, it's like, surprise, it's a TV show. And at first, everybody was like, okay, but why though? Also, are we just ignoring the bald-headed demon who we last saw getting yeeted off of Yavin 4? Like. And so, they made it all cinematic with like the ancestors being ashamed of Anakin while it was happening.
I'm still waiting. If you had to remaster anything, please let it be Return of the Jedi when the Force Ghosts show up and Anakin is there, young Anakin, and Mace shows up and like, if you're gonna say Mace is dead, okay, if you're gonna say that, at least have him show him like, why is he here? I need to know
that part.
Why is he here?
Just have Mace stare hard as hell at him and be like,
just me mug him the whole time.
You want to say something?
Yeah, there's somebody made a fan edit, I know, after the 9th movie came out, where they actually video edited in all of the Jedi whose voices you hear as Force Ghosts, and it was like, hey, here's how this should have been done. And I'm like, yeah, because if you got them to do the voices, I don't think they mind putting the robes back on.
No, Sam definitely didn't mind. He's fighting too. He was just like, call me.
Especially with Ewan McGregor and what's his face? They like. You talk about guys that literally make the Force. They had to be told not to make the Force sounds while swinging a lightsaber. I'm sorry, as a grown man, you give me a lightsaber. I'm making the doggone sound. It's hard.
Look, I'm pretty sure I am not alone when I say this. But every time I go to a store that has automatic opening doors, I literally every single time.
That was my May the 4th be with you post. Just me going up to like dozens of stores doing this.
Because you never
Even my wife caught me doing it one time. She's like, "Wait," and I'm like, "Don't ask."
you never know that one day when you realize you got force powers. That's when it's like, ooh, that's you know. That's when you find out if you're really a Jedi or you're just a Sith in waiting.
Oh my god!
Or gray.
Yeah, or gray. I literally ran into a guy. Never knew him. He was working at the store, and noticed he had a rebel tattoo. And I said, "Rebel scum recognizes rebel scum." And he was like, "You got it." And my wife looked at me like, "Do you know him?" And I'm like, "No, it was his tattoo on his arm." She was like, "Everywhere you go," and I'm like,
"Same way.
I am who I am."
Or if you have a Mandalorian patch, you just this is the way. It's like you're just there to do that, and it's kind of funny where you see it. It's like you're trying to explain to your wife, y'all just say this stuff to each other. It's like, okay, put it this way: you walk into a room and you don't know you trying to figure out, who's with you, who you're not. It's like that little Facebook meme where you see the killer around the corner, can't figure out everything else is, and they, he yells at a Cardi B line, and then y'all respond. Yeah, replace that with Star Wars.
Yeah,
you'll be fine. That's how we know. That's how you know who get along with.
I explained to my wife like this. I said, the black head now. She was like, yeah. I said, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
The same thing. Thank you.
Like I seen somebody wearing a Jane Cobb knitted hat, and I said, that's a mighty fine hat. And she responded in kind, and my wife said, how? Never mind. And I'm like, exactly. That's gonna be Tafari's homework. Watch one season of Firefly, so you can get it done in a day.
There's only one season of Firefly.
Yeah, you only get it done in a day.
Oh, the cruelty is telling somebody about Firefly but saying nothing about it. Just watch this one DVD.
How I broke my wife in. She watched the whole thing. She was like, "So when's the next one coming out?"
Never.
Yeah.
Let me sit you down, honey.
Yeah,
why would you show? You can still watch the movie.
I did that to somebody with alphas. That was still funny.
Yeah, so we're bringing back Cad, which is cool, and now to see Ventress, who everybody was just confused as to how she came back, but then not realizing we were doing a separate canon to now getting her own show is just great.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Yeah, my camera's off for a second.
I was gonna say, well, yeah. I don't see. It's not that's not that big of a deal.
Well, it was. I mean, at the time, everybody was just confused because the last time we saw her was just like, hey, remember when like Anakin remembered his robot arm is stronger than a regular arm, and like Loki broke her wrist to steal her saber, and then Snow White her off a cliff, and then the next movie we see, she's like the starring bad guy, and everyone's just like, well, but how? And at that point, they weren't really explaining things the way they do now. 06 was a confusing time.
I thought you were talking about this show.
No, I mean her canon as far as the show, like with that first movie. Everybody, I remember people were like, didn't we just see you die? How? There's no way you survived that fall.
Nope. Did you see my body? Nope.
Listen,
the ancestors pulled up to watch you go down there. There's no way you survived.
She got Night Sister capability. She could do something.
Darth Maul survived his fall, so everybody's surviving falls as far as
yes, including Mace. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill.
If the spirit of all my unks pull up to watch your demise, I assume you're not there, even though they're probably scolding me for it. Like, very cinematic too. You know what? That's another thing I need to see. I need to see another lightsaber fight with like the way they did the rain. That's something I don't think they've done in a long time.
What do you mean the way they did the rain?
So the battle. So in the short, it cuts off because him and Ventress are basically like two Padawans that have just been like dodging each other, but they finally cross paths. She takes out his whole platoon, and then they just have this face off where they're kind of just standing there, beams in hand. Then the rain comes, and now you see like the steam coming off of each lightsaber, and then it cuts to black before the next episode.
See, there's what I enjoy about scenes like that is like the same thing with Kenobi. the scene where he's facing off with Vader again. But that lighting situation when the mask is cracked and you're getting you hear the blue and you hear a little bit more of Anakin's voice, and then his flashes of red and you hear more of Vader. I said that's cinematic. I love that.
They put work in that.
Wait, you did not kill Anakin. It's like that whole voice to Anakin to Darth Vader. That was again it gets overused a lot, but there are very few scenes where it really was pure cinema.
I mean, we look at Rogue One. That ending scene will always be classic.
I want
always be classic.
I want that fear whenever a door opens and people just look at me. I'm like, yeah. Just you hear the music. You know you're not gonna make it to the sequel.
And the thing is, that's it. They're hitting you with that ending scene on the shock of, oh, nobody made it out this movie. It was funny to me because like you meet Saw Gerrera and it's like, oh, he wasn't in here long. Now Saw is in like every other thing that they do. Like Saw, they got Saw's childhood in Clone Wars. We see the entire life.
He's in Andor. Just like yo,
they're like, hey, we know we killed him off the first time you met him, but let's just keep throwing him in stuff as a kid, teenager, in between.
So Whoopi said earlier, like, why do they all sound like they have COPD? And I said, well, that's by design. Like people look at Vader saying, "Oh, that's like high tech." It's high tech enough.
I mean, the man
it's still a patch job for the simple fact the Emperor needs him in pain, and the pain fuels the rage. So if he's in pain, he's always gonna be pissed. You know, he's gonna be agitated. He's like, so I don't have time for your drivel. I don't. So yeah, he's gonna want to choke for somebody. What do you mean you didn't? The rebels got away. I got out of my tub for this. I
mean, do you really want to see a fully healed Anakin Skywalker that realizes he killed his wife and kids? You gonna have an emo Sith for the rest of your life, just the whole time. You just be sitting there brooding. My Chemical Romance is playing somewhere. It's like, you gonna help me conquer this? No, I'm gonna sit here and brood. I did not bring you up here for this.
He's like, I need you. Grievous. That's why Grievous, he still has a voice box and he's still hacking.
See, there was also the whole thing. There was a whole plot line about the doctors who made Grievous basically, which Loki was basically a native tribe. They were basically testing out his works to make like an army of him, and then Anakin ends up like liberating the people. I was hoping to see more of that revisited at some point because they kind of just threw him in there. It's like, he was put together after some one bad day. And I'm like, I kind of liked his other backstory that like these mad scientists made him and just turned him into the perfect killing machine. And then Clone Wars made him into like kind of a joke.
Yeah.